Hi, everyone. Welcome to part 22 of exposing every single aspect of the truth as to what is really going on with Katie Joy slash Without a Crystal Ball and all of her pretend sources that she has looked up from other legal documents that she has chosen to take as fact, as somebody brought up so eloquently the other day, and now we can discuss it because I have a plan in the way that I'm trying to unveil everything. Katie Joy would like everybody to think that nothing is going on, that these little petty lawsuits just come at her to stop her from doing her work as a journalist, and that she's a really, really important journalist, and that these pesky people do these things, then they don't even show up for court, and they cost her all of this money in legal fees, and nothing has happened, and no one has successfully won a case against her. Well, my friends, her definition of winning are much different than any other person who purports themselves as a journalist. Most real journalists go an entire career, a lifetime, of never having anybody file suit against them for defamation or libel, because those journalists build their career on trust, on reciprocity, with telling the victim story in a way that the victim will be able to get justice, telling stories in ways that keep and captivate the reader based on facts told in a story fashion to keep the reader engaged. What she is doing is putting together salacious gossip interwoven with her own feelings of anger and projection, because she herself is very, very angry at God because her life didn't turn out the way that she wanted it to, because she's a spoiled brat. And let's stop trying to package it into anything else. Okay? She's a spoiled brat who's mad because she didn't get everything she ever wanted in life. And if she didn't get anything that she ever wanted in life, well, then she's a victim. And the other people who did it to her must be part of a cult and part of a system that was made to abuse and everything else. And she tries to align herself with cases that she would like to think that she is seen separately as, where we see that the old saying, he doth protest too much. Yeah, it's because she's a closet case in all aspects of the word. Think about it. Think about it. Especially as it pertains to the case of 8 passengers. Think about who she goes for. She's jealous. She's massively jealous. She's massively angry, jealous. Just sits there and seethes hate. She is the ultimate troll. She brags about it. She's made a fortune on it, literally. Don't let her fool you. She's saying that, oh, these things cost her so much. She makes 10 times as much. I know that the statistics of how much she makes on Social Blade are, at best, stretched. But even if they're stretched, she is making so much. Those statistics say that she's worth 1.2 million and that she makes 460,000 a year. How wrong are they? She does nothing other than sit on her poop brown couch and spew lies and gossip and hashtags people who are successful so that it brings views to her channel to see what they're talking about. Those views, even if they're hate watches, are paying her. She is being paid to troll, hate, and project her own anger and feelings of jealousy and envy and hate. Why? Because people go and watch her. I can't stand to watch her. She makes me itch. The way that she brags about winning when there's nothing close to winning. I can't imagine anybody causing this much trouble in the court system and still doing what they do, still continuing that pattern of behavior and not learning from their mistakes, something's wrong with her. And I'm here for every single bit of exposing the truth and giving you all bits of the backstory so that it makes sense, so that things like a different judge being appointed in her case aren't taken for what they are not. It is that our county had a very bad, old, senile, broken judge who was doing some very, very bad things that contributed to the loss of life in at least one case. He'd get mixed up on who was trying to put restraining orders on who. He couldn't make the decision because he couldn't talk about what was going on. So he'd say that he'd make the decision and then make the decision backwards. He needed to go a long time before he went. But as we had a new sheriff in town, after the old sheriff, he was great and he'd been there for many, many years. But there was a new sheriff in town, which gave rise to a new prosecutor in town because the old prosecutor was burnt out. So we got a new judge, a new prosecutor, a new sheriff, and a brand new courthouse, which I showed you. And there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So I can make sense of what may not make sense to somebody who doesn't live here and understand it. And I'm kind of trying to tell you the way that things go out here. And they go very, very slow. Very slow. We are basically a time warp. The area out here, as I show you in my other videos, it's like Little House on the Prairie in many areas. There's literally prairies where Little House on the Prairie was filmed. There are still areas, like I show you, where nobody has ever walked. Untouched earth. And as such, things move slower. Now we're close to the cities, but we're out here in the suburbs. And Katie Joy lives a few little townships away. Now, with that being said, there's so much made out of what's going on in each hearing and whatnot. And I'm trying to get the truth out as to what is really going on. And the October 3rd hearing was just set to allow Katie Joy's lawyer to say whether or not she was caught up, because she was very, very behind. How could she have gotten caught up on the depositions? She was on vacation and she came back and this was this way. But she's part of a firm. And a firm doesn't operate in that way. She's trying to do all kinds of things to say she's in over her head. Because most people, when they are served about something that they have done, stop what they are doing until what they have done is evaluated, measured, and can move forward. She's continuing what she's accused of doing and brags about how she won't stop. Her lawyers have to be just frustrated beyond belief. Okay? Now, I said something wrong the other day because I said, well, Graham Martin must be mad because he's not signing his name to anything anymore like he did in the beginning. And I also said that she didn't get the same lawyer to represent her. Well, I was mistaken. Because when she's bragging about how she's won everything, I decided to go and look a little deeper into the Chris Chrisley case. And oh boy. But Graham Martin defended her in that. So I was mistaken. And he made a small fortune. She says 30 grand. Well, I believe it. And so much more. There's so much more. So I'm going to show you piece by piece what I've found out. What I have. And when I went to the courthouse yesterday, I cross-check her for everything. I make sure that, because there's rumors out there that she's filed for divorce, I always make sure that none of that has happened. There are people out there that say that they have restraining orders against her and have done this and that against her. And I make sure of who has and has not done that. And I make sure that she hasn't done any other things, like drive drunk again. Now, there is another person who has a very similar name to her and a very similar birth date. So I think that others have looked her up and seen differently. And that could explain some of the lore out there that doesn't add up. And when I went to the courthouse just yesterday, got all this printed, I was trying to see if the judge had written her report on what had happened on the phone conference. It was just a phone conference. It was just the two lawyers. It was just to see if they could move forth with scheduling. As Amber, 7M's attorney, Amber Slavik, said that realistically, a trial is 1 year out. That this is such a mess that Katie Joy continues to slander her clients, and that it realistically will take 1 year to set everything up to go to a trial by jury. There was nothing written. There was no report. There was nothing new scheduled. And I'm sitting there printing all this stuff off. And I hear the receptionist go, "Oh, hi, Judge." And I turn around and there she is. There's the judge. And she looks nothing like her picture up there that you can look up. Cactus Bill put up a little thing with her background and a picture of her. And that may have been 60 years ago, because I'm telling you, she doesn't look like that anymore. Okay? So there's Judge Carrie Willis, and here I am printing off. I'm about ready to bust out their printer because, I'm printing off more, light reading on Katie Joy, and I got Katie Joy all pulled up here and all of this, and I'm just thinking, oh gosh, she can look over and see what I'm doing here and comment, and I want to be like, hey, what happened in the phone conference yesterday? Do you have a comment on it? Or just being like, do you know what's really going on here? It took everything I had to not totally geek out and accost the judge. But I didn't. And I was wondering if she put in some paperwork at that time, for them to enter. And it seems that maybe they did, because another poster posted on Reddit, and I posted that it shows that there is another hearing set for November 15th at 10 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't say if it's a phone conference or anything like that. It says that it is a hearing on a motion. So now we've got to go back and figure out on what motion, because there are several motions from either side going back and forth that have not been ruled on. Now, I am drinking my tea, of course, in my favorite Christmas mug from Starbucks yesteryear, when they used to have the really cute tumblers. And I have my tea that is the Yogi licorice with 1 tea bag of Trader Joe's mint. And did you see in my comments, one of you told me that Yogi has came out with a licorice mint dupe for Aveda tea, and I am all about it. I'm going to have to go and get some. So thanks for sharing the tea about the tea. So I've got kind of my little setup here. It really incorporating that purple. Like I told you, I've incorporated in my decorating, really getting the purple. And look at this one. Isn't that cute? Look at that. The psychic readings. I love this one. Got it from the Dollar Tree. And then I have it with the little thing right there. The little hands on the crystal ball. So there's a ball, and there's a ball, and there's a ball. And with my balls, I am continuing to expose Katie Joy's lies. Lies, 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 and lies. And here's last year's Starbucks mug. And I've got my spiderweb nails back on, and this one is supposed to glow in the dark a little better than it does. It doesn't, as you can see. And then I have the It's Just a Phase crystal ball in there. So with my Benny balls, here I am, and we'll get the light on and get down to business here. Okay? Look at this. Look at that. So cute. The crystal ball tells all. Oh, tell us, tell us, tell us. Will 7M finally take this bitch down? Yes. Yes. My balls say yes. Okay. And my Dollar Tree ball there. So, where we are in my series, we have gotten through all of this so far. Okay. In exposing in 21 parts. Just getting everything up to speed in where we are with 7M. And because it's a year out from trial, we're not missing out on anything. I have everything here. This is my thing where I just keep ready to go at all times, where I have two, episodes at all times ready to go. So if Hubber says we're leaving for the weekend, he made plans and he wrote on my calendar and I forgot about it because I'm busy doing everything else around the house, doing everything else. Then I just always keep things ready to go, as you see, so I can record in the hotel and whatnot. And I don't tell anybody I go on vacation until I'm home, mainly because I don't know my schedule. Because Hub and I don't communicate until we're actually on vacation and not being interrupted. Like I say, kids just get bigger. They still need you. So this is where we're at in looking at those. And then this is where we are going to finish that part. And these are still unsorted. So we still have that to go through. Now, look at what I did here. Because where I found the interrogatories and I was reading about the questions for interrogatories, her answers to those interrogatories were not there when I have previously went to print. So when I went yesterday, I got all of her answers to the interrogatories that were the questions that were asked as to where she pulled this information out of. And I have it all. I have all of her answers to all of the questions that were asked. So I have all of this to add. So all of this is going back over to add in to the 7M. Okay. So just to put that in perspective, that's where we're at with that. Okay. These are just little updates that I do, and they have just things that are not relevant, so I won't show them. What I did, though, is based on some of the questions and conversations that I've seen, I got more documents, and I'll show you what I've done. Because she was talking about how she won the Chris Chrisley thing and everything, I decided to check into that. And while she thinks she won, it's just because Chris Chrisley had bigger fish to fry in all of his legal issues. And so I went and got a register of actions of what had happened in that case. And if I thought that the 7M register of actions was excessive, it is nothing compared to what went on with the Chris Chrisley thing. And I decided that, you know what? When I'm done with the 7M, I'm going to read every single aspect of what she did back and forth with Chris Chrisley, because it's every bit as toxic as what she has done to 7M. And it is time that people knew about it. Okay? So I've got it all. This isn't winning. This is not winning at all. This is tying up court's time. This is causing so much chaos. Look at this register of actions. Every time that there's something done in an email, a conversation, a motion, that takes up the court's time. It takes up 2 lawyers' times. But they're all in response to what she has done. Look at this page after page after page of things, of motions, of stipulations, of I don't know how she continues. This woman has to be so manic. I want to say maniacal and manic at the same time, because she manically posts this crap, and look at all of the trouble that it causes. This is not normal. Okay? This is not normal. And then it goes into, every time there are motions filed and whatnot, there are court costs. And you see that, she has to be paying on these. So, I'll break this all down and I'll see how many pages the Register of Actions is. And this one is her alleged drunk driving. Now, she has talked about the fact that she has a DUI. So this is not doxing her, and that's an old address. Nonetheless, this one shows that. Now, because I just made a little mistake in showing that old address, this part of the video may get canceled. So we're going to do this. I need to back out of this and say, oh, shishnish. Okay. So this is going to be just bits and bobs. Let's do bits and bobs. And oh shit, basically. We'll do bits and bobs. All right, I'm going to end this. And I'll tell you why in the next